Hi, today I'm going to be talking about one video game and 5 underrated horror movies. Hello, welcome to Game Rating Review. My name is Jean-Marc, and today I'll be talking about one video game. I wanted to talk about my favorite horror games this year, but I only played one of them, so that's all I'm going to talk about, and 5 very underrated movies that you should be watching, but you probably aren't. So, which video game did I play this year? Resident Evil 7. That's right, Resident Evil 7. Starts out as a found footage game. The demo was very good. That's what it was. You going into this house, looking for things, using your camera to look through. Then it goes on from the game from there with this crazy family. What I loved about this game was the opening whenever you drived up into basically a swamp, which I'm from Louisiana, so I was like, wow, I think I've been down this road before with this swamp right on the edge of it. It was really awesome. The only thing I regretted about playing this game was that there is a PlayStation VR functionality in this game. And I can tell that it would have made things a million times more scary if I had PlayStation VR with characters getting in your face, screaming in your face, and just scaring you. This crazy family in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana, which is basically where I grew up. I don't know, it just really scared me. The only other problem with this game is I wasn't able to finish it. I was going through it, and for whatever reason, I think Metal Gear Solid 5 I started playing after that, and I wasn't able to finish it. But it did have a lot of genuine scares, a lot of genuinely scary things in it, and I loved it, and I do plan on playing this again. It was great. And you're probably wondering, Jean-Marc, why is it Friday the 13th in there? Well, I already did a review of Friday the 13th. This is way scarier than Friday the 13th game. I mean, I guess I could put Friday the 13th. It is a genuinely scary game. It's only really fun when you're playing with other players, playing as a counselor, Jason. But this is one of my favorite #1 scary games of the year. I guess I'll put Friday the 13th second. So I guess I lied. I completely forgot about Friday the 13th because I've been live streaming it, for goodness sakes. So, sorry, Jason. My bad. So I'm also going to be talking about 5 underrated movies, horror movies specifically, that I watched. No one's talking about them, no one's watching them, and I desperately want people to do those things. So let me go through them. My first horror pick is going to be Delirium. I'm starting with Delirium because it's more of a psychological movie. There's some scares in it, but the whole time you're wondering if Topher Grace's character is crazy or not. They actually give you an idea that he is kind of crazy in the movie. Without spoiling anything, he's basically under police custody in this large mansion by himself, and he's just kind of losing it a little bit. I actually really liked Topher Grace in this movie. I loved him in that 70s show, and he's really showing a lot of charisma and having a lot of fun in this movie. This movie is very well shot. The suspense is really well done, and I really like Topher Grace in this movie. And then his brother comes in at one point. You don't even know if the brother's even real or not. Everything you see in this movie, you have to take with a grain of salt and wonder if it's real or not. And this made this movie extremely fun for me to guess what was going on. The surprise ending was really good. Also, there's a cop character in this movie I didn't particularly care for. That was probably the most negative thing in this movie, but otherwise I loved it and recommend you see it. It's on Netflix right now, so you should check it out. Number 2 is Cabin Fever 2. I know I'm not putting these in any kind of order, but Cabin Fever 2... I know this comes out of nowhere. I know a lot of people saw Cabin Fever 1 and swore it off, and Cabin Fever 2 is gross and disgusting at parts, but ultimately it was one of my favorite horror movies I have ever seen. Like, what it was, I don't know, I loved it, and I don't know why. I loved it so much. I'm watching through this thing, and Cabin Fever 1, of course, takes place in a cabin in the woods. The second movie basically starts off where the first one stopped, and then you go to a high school, and I thought it was fun to be in a high school with the same conditions that you had in Cabin Fever 1, and it just heightened things, having kids that have no idea what's going on, trying to live their lives, trying to go through this high school situation, and of course it all centers around a dance that happens. The dance is great. I like the main character a whole lot. I think he's great. The girl that he's interested in is okay, but I like the main character and his friend the best. And going through this dance, discovering what's going on with the stuff that's going on in Cabin Fever, and the ending I really liked a lot because it opened a lot of different possibilities. So no, it's not like Delirium where it's like this safe, you could probably watch it with your kids' movies, there's some kind of freaky parts. Cabin Fever 2 is not that. It has gross parts, it's some crazy parts that you should not be watching with kids. But I don't know why, I loved it and had a smile on my face the whole time. Number 3, Lake Bodom. Lake Bodom is this true tale about these people that go to Lake Bodom and disappear. That's actually a true story about Lake Bodom, but in this movie, they know about the lore about Lake Bodom, and then they go into it to kind of research it, and one of the characters is trying to like replicate what happened at Lake Bodom and see if anything actually happened. This is more of a slasher movie in the traditional slasher movie sense, and I really enjoyed the ride. I thought, yet again, it was well shot. The characters were okay in it, but I was liking how it moved, the pace of it, how everything was going. I just genuinely enjoyed this movie. I wish the slasher in this thing, they don't really show them that often, was more dynamic or had more of any kind of look to it, but I like the suspense of this because you, yet again, don't really know what's going on or who's doing what. You start to figure it out and then it just gets crazy by the end of it. Yet again, not for kids. They have some gruesome moments, but nothing as crazy as Cabin Fever 2. But yeah, I love this movie. I love the ride that it takes you on this movie. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. Number 4, Happy Death Day. How can I sing the praises of Happy Death Day and no one watch it? This is such a good movie and such a surprise movie. Man, I watched this thinking, oh, it's gonna be another lame movie. I need something to laugh at. Watched it and loved it. For starters, this was filmed in Louisiana. Number 2, it was great. I like the main girl that's in it, the Scream Queen that is in it. She's a very dynamic character. She has to do a lot of multifaceted things in this movie. Didn't really like her in the beginning, just her character, not the actress or anything. By the end of this movie, ended up really liking this character. I like the ride that you're taking her on. And talking specifically about what's going on in this movie kind of is a spoiler. You just kind of have to watch it and take my word for it that this is a very good and very interesting movie. It has some detective plot twist where you're trying to figure out what's going on. You're trying to figure out who the person in the baby mask is and why they are trying to kill this person. One thing I can't tell you, it is the person's birthday, and yeah, if I say anything else, I'll be giving it away. So please watch this movie. It is a very fun movie. It's kind of reminded me of Scream, where it was different, it was fun, it was fast-paced, and it is great. So you should definitely, please, out of everything else, I really, really love this one. It was so much fun. And number 5, The Invitation. Man, this movie, I just wasn't seeing it coming. It's the most recent movie I've watched out of this entire list. The Invitation is also on Netflix. Super thought-provoking, and it is, yet again, like Delirium, you're going to be thinking what is real, what isn't real the whole time you're watching this. And it's about this character who goes into this dinner party at a house, and he's suspicious of everything that is going on. And he's going to see his ex-wife, who is with this guy who is in the Hill House show that's also on Netflix. So if you want to see him in something else that isn't Game of Thrones, he is very good in this. This is a very almost slow movie in parts, and because it's all about a dinner party. Dinner parties aren't specifically exciting, but I don't know, something about the dialogues and the characters and getting to know each character and understanding what the main character is going through, why he's being suspicious, why he looks sad the whole movie. Actually, the guy who plays the main character is a great actor in my opinion, and he was in a movie called Upgrade, which isn't really a horror movie, it's an action movie that, yet again, you have got to go see. This is a very, very good, fun movie, and it's basically what Venom should have been. It is so good. Venom was super terrible, But Upgrade is great. The Invitation is great. It's just him with longer hair, basically, and a beard. And the climax is what this whole movie is worth. If you're watching The Invitation, you're bored, just watch it to the end. You will know what I mean. And watch it all the way to the end, because there's so many twists and turns at the end. I love it. Love this movie. The build-up is great. It's almost like a Quentin Tarantino movie in that way, that it builds and builds and builds and builds, and then at the end you're just like, oh wow, that's So please watch The Invitation. Please tell me what you think of these 5 movies if you've seen them. Tell me what you think of the, not one, but I guess 2 games that I played were my scariest games of the year. And thank you for watching Game Rating Review. My name is Jean-Marc. Please hit like, subscribe, and like you see. And that was my opinion on games and movies that were scary this year.